Hey, it's Sarah with Loaves and Dishes, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this super classic chocolate chip cookie. Before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you'll be notified when we upload. Okay, so in a bowl, you're going to add 1.5 cups of light brown sugar, and then you're going to add 1/2 cup of white sugar. And I just think I should tell you, I've made this recipe 3 times now. And the first time, I didn't have light brown sugar. I had dark brown sugar, and so I used that. And then I didn't have any semi-sweet chocolate chips, and so I just used milk chocolate. You're also going to add some melted butter. And if you use dark brown sugar, you're going to get a more caramelly flavor. Same with only using milk chocolate. It's going to taste real caramelly, just FYI. But it works, and they were really good cookies. They just weren't what I was hoping to make. And then you're going to add some melted butter, and you're going to give that a mix. You can use browned butter if you want to take the time to brown the butter. But I didn't want to, and I don't know that I think that brown butter does anything magical, and it just makes something else dirty. And I think melted butter is just fine. But if you want like a nuttier flavor, you can brown the butter, and that's what would happen. Then you're going to add some eggs, and I just added the eggs one at a time, and I'm mixing them one at a time. But you need to add 2 eggs. And we're doing like a wet and then dry configuration. So I'm mixing all of my wet ingredients together, and then I'm going to add the dry ingredients to this bowl. And I'm starting out using a whisk because I'm using wet ingredients, but I'm going to switch to a spatula once I do the dry ingredients because it just gets too thick for a whisk. I added some vanilla extract, and I'm just giving that a mix in. And I forgot to add in the milk at this stage. I just added it in when I put in the dry stuff, and that's fine. But you don't want to be adding 2 or 3 wet ingredients on top of your dry ingredients. Now I'm adding 3 cups of flour. I'm just using all-purpose flour, and that is what I recommend. If you're going to have like flour in your cabinet, I recommend having an all-purpose flour. I don't know that I'd recommend like having a self-rising or a bread flour or that kind of thing unless you're specifically utilizing those frequently. All-purpose is the way to go, if you ask me. Then I added some salt, I added a little bit of baking soda, and I'm adding some baking powder, and I'm also going to add some cornstarch. And here's the milk. And it's not even milk, it's oat milk. So So now I'm just taking my spatula and I'm giving that a mix, and I'm just like going around the sides. I'm trying not to get flour everywhere. That's what happens anytime I make something with flour. I get flour everywhere. If anybody has any tips on how to not get flour everywhere, please tell me, because it's so messy. That and powdered sugar. If I do anything with powdered sugar, it's everywhere. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so I'm mixing in this flour, and if you're like me and you make cookies and you do this part and you mix everything together and it just looks too wet, my next tip is going to be like game changer for you. So you want to mix everything together, right? And I mix everything together, and then I just let my chocolate chips sit on top. And then you want to let the dough rest. So the flour, when you mix it in, the flour has to like take time to absorb all of the liquids. It doesn't do it right away. And so if you let the dough rest, it will come together like a regular like cookie dough where it's a little bit stiffer. So while that, I set that aside, and now I'm doing my chocolate chips. I like to use a chocolate bar. This is a Lindt milk chocolate, and I like to use a chocolate bar because it makes me feel fancier. I like the irregularity of the milk chocolate chips. But you don't have to. This is like just a personal preference. But I do like the bigger hunks of chocolate in the cookie. So I added my milk chocolate on top of my dough, and then I'm adding my semi-sweet chocolate. Now, I thought to myself, well, I like milk chocolate, so I'm just going to add milk chocolate. The last time I made these, and it was not, it didn't taste like a cookie. So the semi-sweet is where you get that kind of bitter chocolate flavor. So I let that rest for about 30 minutes, and see, now my dough is like really stiff, whereas before it was kind of thin and liquidy for cookie dough, and you want cookie dough to be kind of stiff. So I am just mixing in my chocolate here. And I'm not doing, it's not like a serious mix. I'm doing kind of almost kneading the dough. Like that's what it was sort of like, because it was really stiff. But you just want to try to get your chocolate in the dough as evenly as possible. Goose is going crazy at something. I think somebody's walking their dog. So then on some parchment paper, I am scooping out my cookies. I also really recommend getting a cookie scooper if you're gonna be making cookies a lot. I have been against getting one for a long time because I thought I could just use a spoon, but my cookies never come out the same size, and so then they don't bake evenly. And I got a cookie scoop, and now my cookies are all the same size, and it's been great. So don't be like me. Don't resist getting the appropriate tool for the job, thinking, oh, I can just do it some other way. So, and then I did put that on a cookie sheet, and I baked it at 375 for 7 to 9 minutes. And this is what they look like when they come out. They spread perfectly. I thought this one would have more chocolate in it, but I guess I didn't mix it very well, but it was still delicious. And when they come right out, I like to sprinkle them with just a little bit of salt. It gives them like a nice little salty bite. But that's it. Thanks for watching.